sports today for the first time in 10 months. He's in town to compete in the Genesis Invitational at the Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte with the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial. In a public opinion survey commissioned by KBLA Talk 1580 and conducted by Viteris, the black voters surveyed were highly enthusiastic about the March 2024 primary. The race for Los Angeles district attorneys being hotly contested. Incumbent DA George Gascon's efforts to implement progressive criminal justice reforms have generated pushback from within his own office, the broader law enforcement community, and some in the general public. He was the subject of at least 2 failed attempts to qualify recalls. The concerns about crime are reflected in the polling results of black voters. Nearly 1 in 4 have been victims of violent crime or have someone close to them who has been a victim. 1 in 5 black voters have personally been victims of property crime in the last 2 years. A majority of respondents feel less safe than they did a year or 2 ago, but they reject the notion that criminal justice reform has gone too far. This year, black voters will be looking for candidates who speak to the complexity of the issues as opposed to a one-size-fits-all approach. Nearly half of black voters have an unfavorable view of DA Gascon, but his challengers are largely unknown. Nearly half of the black voters are also undecided, which means there's a clear opportunity for candidates to connect with black voters. Our poll makes 3 things abundantly clear. Black voters matter. Black voters are closely following this race, and the candidates for DA have a lot of work to do. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to the mobilization and use of the franchise to empower our audience to identify and pursue their interests in advancing equity, inclusive representation, and multiracial solidarity. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte. We welcome your feedback.
I'm Tavis Smiley, and I am thrilled to have you hanging out with us in this third and final hour of our program today. 2 great hours in front of us and 1 more to go. In this hour, 2 great conversations. On the B side, the back side of this hour, the co-host of Entertainment Tonight, Michelle Turner, on this very busy award season, which we find ourselves in the midst of. It ain't over yet, but it's a very, very busy award season, and we will talk to her about that when she joins us on the B side of this hour. We commence this hour, though, with David Crownson on the inspiration behind his best-selling comic book, Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer. David, good to have you on Tavis Smiley. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, sir. Thank you so much for having me. Big fan.
Man, it's my honor to have you on. Thank you for coming on. Glad we got a few minutes to talk here. And I'm a fan of your work and what you're doing at Kingwood Comics. So let me just start with that. You are the CEO of Kingwood Comics. Tell me first, we'll get to Harriet Tubman in a moment, about Kingwood Comics.
Yeah, well, Kingwood was birthed. Well, first of all, I'm from New Jersey. And Kingwood is a small town that I grew up in, just like a very rural country area in New Jersey. And I got introduced to comic books and film while I lived there. Like my dad used to take me to movies, and then he used to get me comic books afterwards. So when I was thinking of just what I wanted to name my publishing company, I'm like, okay, let's go with where I first got introduced to this in the first place. And just kind of have a full circle thing of childhood and first introductions to creativity. And yeah.
Yep. Tell me more, as a child, how you fell in love with the artistry and the magic, I think it's fair to say, of comic books.
Yeah, I fell in love with the visual storytelling and how it linked with the literary, because when I was a kid, I grew up reading like, James and the Giant Peach and, like Berenstain Bears, and comic books. It was like a full-blown graphic novel story where, usually when you read books, you imagine it, and you have your own interpretation of it. And with comics, there is an interpretation from the writer and the artist, and it just kind of just stuck out and just jumped at me. And I think the first comic book I ever read was The Death of Superman, which is I probably should have read it because it's very violent. But it was also just a big striking moment in my childhood because, obviously it's called The Death of Superman. Superman loses. And I just, as a kid, I thought, oh, okay, I think that's what happens, right? The good guys don't win all the time. That was instrumental. Just in my childhood, yeah.
There's an amazing backstory of how this project came to be. We're going to talk in a moment specifically about the book, Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer. But the Kickstarter backstory to your company and this series is pretty amazing. Take a minute or two to tell me about the Kickstarter campaign.
The Kickstarter campaign. I'm just gonna be honest.
Sure.
The Kickstarter campaign was birthed from the 2016 elections. I had the idea for Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, but I was having trouble finding financing and finding investors because that was like a new pool for me to look into as a creative. And so I thought, okay, like I have this idea, I really like it. I don't have the money to finance it. Let me just put it on the back burner, and I'll focus on something else that's a little bit easier to finance and focus on that. And, tomorrow Hillary Clinton's going to be president. Everything's going to be okay. It's like, man, I can't. I was like, man, isn't that crazy? I can't believe this man ran for president. This was a wild 2016. I can't believe all that happened. Man, this man was endorsed by the Ku Klux Klan, and people are still going hard for him. Man, tomorrow's going to be wild. Anywho, let me go to sleep and wake up with Hillary Clinton as president. So the next day, the next day, at the time I was living in New York, and it felt like 15 9/11s had just happened because everyone on the train was just distraught and depressed. And I think I came back to New Jersey to be with my family. And, like, that's how bad it was. Like we had to come together as a family. Yeah. And I think I was on the phone with a good friend of mine, and she just said, "Hey, I've been crying all night." And I can't believe this happened. How could this happen? I'm like, yeah, I know, this is crazy. And then she asked me, hey, like, what are you working on? This is my friend Alex Marshall Brown, an amazing, dope Black woman actress. And she had just said, I told her, I have this idea. It's called Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. It's pretty much Django Unchained meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's grounded in Harriet Tubman's true life story. And she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's Harriet Tubman. I told her about what I had written and how the book was going to go and how the series as a whole is going to go. And she said, you need to make that happen now. You need to be like Mariah Carey and make it happen, David. I was like, what? He says, David, as a Black woman, I need to see a dark-skinned Black woman whooping racist butt.
Hold that thought. And I hear the inspiration the day after Hillary loses. I was just thinking as you were telling that story, if that's how you felt and how all the other folk on the subway felt and how everybody else I know felt, I've said many times, imagine how Hillary felt when she woke up the next morning. If that's how we felt. And all the days since then that she's awakened and had to realize that she lost this race to Donald Trump. I digress on that for now. But I'm glad your friend got you on the phone and told you, okay, the day after, is as good as any time to get this project, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, started. We'll pick the story up when we come forward with David Crownson on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
City of Los Angeles landlords that own rent-controlled properties, you are now able to increase rents by 4% for your rent-controlled properties. An extra 1% per utility up to 6% can be added only if you pay the entire gas and electric bill. And don't forget to give your tenant an advance 30-day written notice for rent increases of less than 10%. It is state law. Learn more about the rent increase at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for all state auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
So it's the day after David Crown said, the day after the big Hillary Clinton loss to Donald Trump back in 2016. And your friend encourages you to take this idea, Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer, off the back burner and push it forward. What happens next?
What happens next is, after we talk and she speaks a word into me, I say, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then we hang up on each other, and I'm like, I ain't going to do that. And so, only because, I was, the task seemed really huge. Mm-hmm. And now, just at the time, it seemed like, okay, this isn't about me anymore. This is bigger than me. And at first, it frightened me. And so I went to, the grocery store just to get some food because I wanted to watch. I wanted to eat my feelings and watch Luke Cage. So I go to this Walmart and I'm in line. There's a long line and no one was going to this young lady at the register who was wearing a hijab. And this is in rural New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And there's tons of white people. And I'm wondering hey, why is the line so long? How come no one's going to this cashier? And all these white people just looked at me funny. So I just jumped out of line and I went to this cashier and she, checked out my stuff. And I said, thank you. And then when I was walking to my car, this white man ran up to me and he said, hey, brother, you are braver than me. And I said, I was confused. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, listen, ever since Trump is in here now, we have to be careful and be vigilant. And I'm like, wait, what? What? And he just felt so okay saying that, like this really crazy, anti-Muslim, like racist thing, saying it to me like an obvious black man. And I just went, I'm gonna make this comic now. Like, I don't want people who
let me cut in right quick. Let me cut in right quick to make sure.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm following you. I want to make sure the audience sees as well. So his comment that you were braver than he was directed specifically at the fact that you'd gotten out of the line and went in the line with the sister wearing the hijab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you let this woman touch your food and touch your credit card.
And he saw that as you're being brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a statement unto itself, is it not?
Yeah, and I just went, I'm like, wow.
Mm.
Just the statement of feeling so okay and comfortable, and
yeah.
And then also just in my area, there had been a lot of hate crimes that had happened within 24 hours of the former president and never again president, hopefully, Donald Trump being elected.
We shall see. We shall see on that part. So his comment to you, says, okay, all right, now you realize I got to get this book done. I got to get it done. So I'm just watching my time here. So you then at some point obviously started a Kickstarter campaign to get this Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer project done, correct?
Yes, yeah. I went straight into getting the Kickstarter together, and got mentored by my good friend Kimberly Dalton Mitchell and Chris Chalk, who just helped me just organize like the page, because I had no idea what I was doing. And actually, I was doing this Kickstarter. They say to never do a Kickstarter between November and December, but I found that out much later. But I think I was one of the first Kickstarters, or at least around that time. We launched it, and within 2 weeks we raised $20,000 to make the comic, and then kept raising money throughout the Christmas holiday. And I think the fundraiser ended on New Year's Day.
Yeah, that is rare to raise.
30 days.
Yeah, that is rare to raise that kind of money during the holiday season when people are spending money on gifts. So let me just ask you right quick: why do you think people responded in the way that they did? Let me just back up. The reason why you're on this program, I don't know if you know this or not. The reason why you're on this program is because I know people who sent me your book. I know people who supported your Kickstarter campaign. And they said, Tavis, this is an amazing comic book called Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. You got to check this out. But they literally brought the book to me, told me about the Kickstarter campaign, said it's an amazing story about Harriet Tubman. And what this brother's doing with Kingwood Comics is something that you ought to check out. And so that's why you're on the program, because there are people who I know who supported your Kickstarter campaign. That said, why do you think my friends and others who supported the Kickstarter campaign during that season of the year for a book about Harriet Tubman, why do you think they signed on?
I think we had just seen. Well, first of all, I'm just honored that people brought the book to you. I think just with the fact of exactly what I had just said, hate crimes and racism had been emboldened. And it was widely emboldened, where people were causing hate crimes, and there was an action to it, and there was a comfortability with it, and there needed to be a stand against it.
Yeah.
Of course, we can do it politically. Of course, we can do it how we vote. But I think seeing it in a comic book format.
Yeah.
Because again, really taking the time to, at least as a writer, researching this real person, but also it's Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
so there is also an air of entertainment to it as well, but still gravitas to it.
Yeah. Let me share with the audience some of the backstory for how David Crownson with his Kingwood Comics got this book published, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. I think you'll appreciate some of the backstory here. So we know that this very brilliant and innovative concept, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, was met with a number of unsuccessful results. as David met with mainstream publishers trying to sell the idea. The Kickstarter campaign worked beautifully, worked wonderfully well, hence the book being published now. But along the way, he got told no by a lot of people. In one meeting with a white editor-in-chief, the woman said that she enjoyed reading Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer, but then made a shocking suggestion. David, I think we need to have more scenes of slaves being whipped and Harriet being whipped. The comic book was too much fun to read and has too much action in it. I'm going to repeat that. This is a white editor looking at a book called Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer, telling David that there need to be more scenes of slaves being whipped, more scenes of Harriet being whipped, and that she had a lot of fun reading the book, but it had too much action in it. When you hear that kind of nonsense, trying to get a book done, trying to get a book published, selling it to mainstream publishers, you responded how?
Oh, yeah, I will never forget that meeting because like this big name publisher was just really they wanted the book bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was just shocked. I think that meeting is where I said I think I got to go independent.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what, it's either going to be watered down, it's going to be, or there's going to be like torture porn that I think we as a people have seen and experienced enough.
Yeah,
and it's triggering.
The notion of using entertainment to re-traumatize people just I find offensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm like, wow, this is a white woman who's telling me that she had too much fun reading my book, and she's like, I think we need it for character development, David.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, we'll just rewrite this issue and adjust to my notes, and we'll sign you a check. And it was a significant amount of money for an advance.
I'm sure.
And I really had to sit there and think, because I was like, okay, I'm either going to have to sign away dignity or move back in with my parents.
With your parents, yeah. But we don't want to do that. So all of those rejections, all of that nonsense, leads David to realize that he has to form his own company, and he did. It's called Kingwood Comics, and self-publishing has given him the creative freedom to write storylines and release content on his timetable, but more importantly, to focus on underrepresented characters and to tell stories that ought to be told in comic book form. So I've got about less than 5 minutes left, so I want to spend the rest of our time with you telling me and the audience specifically about Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer, it's basically Harriet Tubman as we know and love her. It's her whole story, but what if she knew martial arts and had superhuman strength, and demons, witches, and vampires, werewolves all exist? And Harriet Tubman is the chosen one to lead the enslaved to freedom and battle an army of darkness. And like I said before, it's Django Unchained meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but again, grounded in Harriet Tubman's true life story. So it's the ultimate biography. And recently, it got picked up to be a television series with Prentice Penny, who show ran and created Issa Rae's Insecure, producing it at Disney's Onyx Collective, which is an all-black medium financed by Disney. And it's going to be a live-action hour-long show, and I'm still making the comic book while also making the show.
I'm laughing, and I'm really not laughing. I'm just grinning ear to ear because as we say, speaking of Issa Rae, we rooting for everybody black, right? We are rooting for everybody black. And I love to hear stories like these. So you have this idea, you put it on the back burner, you get convinced in a variety of ways and a variety of places that you need to do this book, and you have to do it now. You do the book, and a number of white publishers tell you no, and they tell you crazy things, like I said a moment ago, that I don't need to repeat. that they wanted you to do in terms of character development and rewriting the story. You resist that. You then go out and you start your own company, Kingwood Comics. You raise, through Kickstarter, a lot of money to get this series started. And then out comes Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer. And before you know it, the same sister that helped create Issa's hit show, Insecure on HBO, is now talking to you. And now the thing is being produced as a live action series. Somebody said, won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Yeah.
Won't he do it?
Yeah.
Won't he will? What do you make in these last 2 minutes? What do you make of that journey, David Crownson?
I am just extremely grateful, and it has been wild. It has been a wild journey, and I think we're just getting started with the comic and getting started with the show. But I'm just extremely grateful. Like, the guy that created the comic book and had the idea in 2015 is a different guy now,
Mm-hmm.
a wiser guy. Yeah, I'm just grateful for people that love the story and love the comic. That's all I got. Just extreme gratitude.
No, that's it. I say all the time that gratitude is the gateway to greatness. If you would be great, you must first be grateful. So that gratitude is the gateway to greatness, as I see it. In the 60 seconds I have left, what say you? And it's an amazing story, as I say, from where you started and all the rejection, and now it's being produced as a live action series for Disney, no less. What do you say finally to those persons listening right now who have projects they put on the back burner, persons who've given up on dreams that they have? What's your closing comment to those folk, David Crownson?
Just do it, and surround yourself with positive people who are team you, and people who will push you when you don't feel like doing it, and who will hold you accountable lovingly and firmly.
Yeah. Just recall that you heard it first here on Tavis Smiley. You will see it in the not-too-distant future from the Disney Onyx Collective as a live-action series. I mean, Disney grabs a hold of something, it can go straight to the stratosphere. But for now, you can read it in comic book form. It is called Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer, and it is the brilliant work of David Crownson, the founder of Kingwood Comics. David, I'm thrilled for you. Congratulations. Thanks for coming on this program. I appreciate you, my friend. All the best to you.
Thank you, Tavis. Have a great day. Thank you.
You do the same, my friend. Have a great day on purpose. When we come forward, the co-host of Entertainment Tonight, Nichelle Turner on Tavis Smiley.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A bombshell testimony in the hearing to determine whether to toss District Attorney Fani Willis from former President Trump's Georgia election interference case. The hearing centers around a co-defendant in the case who says Willis should not serve as a prosecutor due to an improper romantic relationship with her special prosecutor Nathan Wade. Witness Robin Neardy worked in the Fulton County District Attorney's office and testified she had no doubt Willis and Wade started their romantic relationship in 2019. Beyoncé will be on the cover of Essence magazine. The African-American singer will be featured on the March-April issue, and inside she'll talk about the legacy of black hair. She's coming out with a hair care line that'll hit stores next week. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Culver City, we have some big trouble right now on the 405 northbound. Right at Washington Boulevard, a semi broke down. It's stuck in the middle lane and traffic is loaded all the way back to the 105. On the south 405 at Mulholland, CHP running a break to get a stall out of the center divider. So it shouldn't be there too much longer. Hey, want to remind you in Wilmington, Alameda Street shut down between Anaheim Street and PCH.
Don't miss huge savings on Better Sleep during Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. For a limited time, shop in store to score a Sleepy's Queen mattress for only $89.99. That's over 60% off and the lowest price ever. So hurry in today. This deal is only here while supplies last.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers headed into the All-Star break with road wins last night. The Lakers beat Utah by 16. Anthony Davis had 37 points and 15 rebounds. Rui Hachimura dropped 36. LeBron did not play. He rested his sore left ankle. Third straight win for the Lakers. They're 4 games over 500 for the first time since December 15th. The Clippers had to finish last night's game in Golden State without Coach Ty Lue. He was ejected with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Clippers hung on to win by 5. 26 points and 7 assists for James Harden. Paul George had 24. The Clippers go into the All-Star break with the third best record in the Western Conference. They're a game and a half behind Minnesota for the top spot. Tiger Woods is back on the course today for the first time in 10 months. He's in town to compete in the Genesis Invitational at the Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like the style, though. Why are people saying "Hugh yeah" to Jackson Hewitt? When you switch to Jackson Hewitt, they will beat what you paid last year on tax prep, even if you filed online. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of this light of ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This light of ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This light of ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer's suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8-count packs.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Did you know COVID-19 vaccines have been updated this season? They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against recent variants, and most people in the U.S. should continue to pay nothing out of pocket for COVID-19 vaccines. Uninsured or underinsured adults can receive them at no cost at participating Bridge program locations, and eligible children can receive them through the Vaccines for Children program at participating providers. For children, COVID-19 vaccines are at no cost, but there may be fees such as for the visit or administration. Book a vaccine option at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
You gotta love theme songs, because when you hear them, you know exactly what time it is. And whenever I hear that, I think of Michelle Turner and Kevin Frazier, because it's Entertainment Tonight. And I'm delighted to have Michelle Turner back on this program. Michelle, how are you today?
I'm good, Tavis. How you doing?
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I am doing well, and I am delighted to have you back on this program. How have you been? First of all, I know you've been busy. How you been, though?
Yeah, it's been, well, you don't really have time to think about how you are, because it's been a really busy time. I mean, it's literally and figuratively, it's our Super Bowl time around here in the entertainment parts. I mean, we had the Super Bowl, of course, and it was on CBS this year, so we were usually we're on 10, we're on 20 doing things around Vegas. And then we're still in the thick of award season. So we had the Grammys, we go right into Super Bowl week, we come back, and this week we have a little bit of a downtime, but we've got a lot of news this week, and then next week we've got the Screen Actors Guild Awards. So we're still moving along.
No, we'll talk about that in a second. We are in the thick of things. We are in the thick of things, as they say around here. Certainly, to your point about award season. But since you went there, let me just follow you. I've seen this. I mean, I've been at this for a while, a little bit longer than you. But I've seen this stuff morph more and more and more over the years, and that is this inextricable link that exists between sports and entertainment. What you mentioned the Super Bowl, so let me just start with that. What do you make of the way those two things have just morphed over the years, sports and entertainment? They're inseparable these days.
Yeah, well, the line has definitely blurred. I mean, there was a time when you really wouldn't see a sports star on a show like Entertainment Tonight, because there were clear lines. Now, I mean, if we can get a glimpse of LeBron or Steph Curry or, now these days Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes, we're clamoring to get them on Entertainment Tonight because the audience is just so rich for them. And now, Tavis, I mean, we just got to say it, that you add the Taylor Swift quotient in there, and it's become madness in a way that the line will never go back. I mean, it's forever blurred with her, joining forces with Travis Kelce and this whole love story that's playing out in front of us. And I have to tell you, I know some people get sick of it. I do not. I'm a hopeless romantic. I think that it's really very sweet. We've seen it a little bit. We saw Jessica Simpson and Tony Romo. We've got Simone Biles and her husband. We've seen the lines between entertainment and sports blur a little bit, but now it's a way that we're never going back, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
So here's where you and I part company. I'm not here for it. So we can have some fun. We got some fun with this. I do not have a problem. I do not have a problem with their relationship. I'm a hopeless romantic like you. So I'm all for that. I mean, I say love wins, right? Love wins. So I'm all for the love part. What troubles me though, and I want to be fair here. I felt the same way when they would always put the camera on Steph Curry's mother. She was obviously a beautiful.
You're the only one, because as gorgeous as she is.
No, I get it. Trust me. I'm about to say she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous, and there's no doubt about that. She's a beautiful woman. And I met her once or twice. A nice person to boot. On top of that, But at the end of the day, every time Steph does something, something amazing on the court, you flash a picture of his mama. I mean, not even his wife.
Mm-hmm.
You go into his mama all the time. That started to weird me out at a certain point. And I feel the same way now about Travis and Taylor. Every time something happens on the field, I don't need to see Taylor Swift's reaction every single time. I just think it annoys me to no end. And I think, again, it's not about the relationship. It's why, I mean, Taylor Swift just came into the picture. You got Kansas City fans for years. We're not flashing the fans. We're flashing her. I don't like it, Nichelle.
Well,
I don't like it.
I am one of those Kansas City fans. I am one of those Kansas City fans that came out of the womb bleeding red and gold. I'm born and raised in Missouri. I have been part of the Chiefs Kingdom now. I'm 49 years old now since I came into this world. I don't have a problem with them because I'll just give you some numbers.
Okay.
And I know it seems that way.
Yeah.
So that game, the Super Bowl, was 4 hours and 14 minutes long on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
In total, Taylor Swift was on the screen for 54 seconds. Are people really that weirded out by 54 seconds?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh, come on, Pat.
Yes, I am.
4 hours and 14 minutes of a game, and y'all are complaining about 54 seconds.
But they ain't flashing. Okay, let me push back. This is getting good. But they ain't flashing up. They ain't flashing nobody else's girlfriend. They ain't flashing nobody else's wife. I mean, what about them? Why is all the attention on this? I'm not naive in asking this, but do we need to see her that even 54 seconds? I mean, I say put her up one time. Do I have to see her time, even if it's 54 seconds total? That breaks down into what, 15 or 30 different shots of her throughout the game. Do I need to see her reaction to every play?
I think that the folks at the networks would say our ad revenues say yes.
Of course they
do. Our viewership says yes because the viewership was up 10% over last year.
Yeah.
20 million more people tuned in. The ad revenues, I work for CBS. We had some of the highest ad revenues that we've ever had.
Yeah.
I think that every one of them would say, Tavis, have a seat. Let us do this.
Yeah, I got it.
And make our money.
No, trust me. I understand.
I know you do.
As I said, I am not naive. I understand the money piece of it. I get weirded out, and I haven't been following this, but I keep seeing this everywhere. And I saw that Patrick Mahomes got asked about it. Your quarterback got asked about it on CNN the other night. What is the story behind this conspiracy theory that there's some Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce something to get Joe Biden reelected? What is the story about?
Well, I love the fact that Joe Biden leaned into it after the game, and he said, ha, 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 this was all in my plan. It worked out just the way we planned it. Now, Tavis, you've been in this game longer than I, so you know, especially it's an election year. You know folks are going to throw any type of spaghetti noodles at the wall to see what sticks.
Yep.
And it's just sad that we've come into this day and age where quote-unquote alternative facts or conspiracy theories, people actually take those and run with them. I mean, Beyonce's internet has done a number on all of us because we, will see one thing and go with it for days. And I think that, people have gotten just so disillusioned with their own lives and wanting to blame someone else for whatever is happening. They're going to try to scrap at anything they can. And we all know that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But people actually believe that. I mean, the fact that Patrick Mahomes was asked about it on a national news network, people actually believe that. And that is wild to me. I always say, my mother always says, if you see crazy coming, don't cross the street. I try my darndest not to cross the street because you see crazy coming. But at some point, what do you do?
Yeah. No, your mother is wise. That's wisdom speaking. I'm with Mama, but you're right. It ain't always easy to resist. It is not easy to resist. When we come forward, as Nichelle Turner said earlier, we are in the midst of award season. We'll talk about that, what has already transpired and what is yet to come in this busy Hollywood award season. I'm delighted to have the co-host of E.T., Nichelle Turner, right now on Tavis Smiley.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Sounds different, huh? This is Tavis Smiley.
All right, Michelle Turner, what's left on the docket for award season? We've gone through the Grammys. We've covered a couple of things already.
Mm-hmm.
What's left?
So we've got the Screen Actors Guild Awards that's coming up on February 24th, and then we've got the big granddaddy of them all, the Academy Awards that are on March the 10th. Oh, actually, I would be remiss. We've got the NAACP Image Awards.
Yep.
That are coming up on March 16th as well. So they're going to be after the Oscars this year.
Right.
And that's kind of going to cap off award season for all of us, that award show.
Yep. So this year, I recall saying this, of course, the day that the nominations came out, and I don't have it in front of me right now. You know this stuff much better than I do. This is your lane, not mine. But I was delighted to see a significant number of African Americans in a variety of categories, and all the big categories this year. People of color have been nominated. So you will not be covering Oscars So White protest this year, will you?
No, we will not. We will not. We will be covering, in a large part, Oscars So Diverse, but some big names still snubbed. That's kind of what we'll be covering this year. Because while there was definitely more diversity within the nominations, in my estimation, and I think in a large part for a lot of us in this industry, there were some snubs. I think, folks of color that should have been added into the mix.
Like.
Well, for one, I think that this person has been snubbed all season, and I think she's deserving, and that's Taraji P. Henson playing Sugar Avery in The Color Purple. I thought she was phenomenal. I thought Taraji stepped way outside her box. She sang down in that movie. I thought she was just a bright spot all the way through that film. I thought she was fantastic. I thought Coleman Domingo could have been a double nominee all season for Mr. and for Bayard Rustin. Of course, he was nominated for the movie Rustin. And I thought the movie The Color Purple deserved a nomination for sure. And I also thought Fantasia Barrino needed more recognition for her role as Celie, because she was kind of the through thread, in that film that kind of kept it all together, the glue that kept the film together. Yep. So I would have liked to have seen that. We didn't, but I was happy because I also thought that Sterling K. Brown kind of went under the radar all season. And when you watch American Fiction, his portrayal in that is otherworldly. He
Agreed.
is
Agreed.
incredible in
Agreed.
that movie. And
Yeah.
so I was so happy to see him get a nomination for an Academy Award.
Yep. This is an impossible question to ask, but since you cover this every day, I
Yeah.
think you might have some insights. One never knows why somebody gets snubbed or left off the list.
Yeah.
Why do you think, for all the hype that was on it, why do you think The Color Purple didn't make the cut?
You know, that's a good question. I mean, you think back to 1985 when it was first nominated, when the first movie came out, it was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, but was shut out.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people were pretty upset about that with reason. I mean, Whoopi should have won that year. She lost out to Kristen Scott Thomas for The English Patient. I don't think anybody ever understood that or will understand that one. And, you know, the movie lost out as well. And so I don't know. I think sometimes not a lot of people, not as many people saw it.
Yeah.
I think because nowadays you're getting these movies that have dual releases on streaming and in theaters, and it's opening it up to a wider audience, opening it up to more than that. But in this situation, I think that the voters, the Academy members, have to look at themselves.
Yeah.
If they didn't see the film, if they didn't vote on the film, because that happens a lot of times too. I think it happened with Origin this year. I saw Origin a couple weeks ago, and I didn't see it until late either, but I wanted to finish reading the book before I saw it. And, I think Anjanou Ellis-Taylor was largely left out as well because she was fantastic in that movie. So a lot of times it has to do with what the Academy members see and what they vote on. And I think that happened with this film. I could go on. I mean, Erica Alexander, also in American Fiction, I think she was left out. I thought she was really great. So, I could go on about some of those films and moments.
One thing's for certain. I think you and I agree on the fact that Whoopi got robbed for Color Purple. She definitely got robbed for that, but it didn't stop her from ultimately achieving EGOT status anyway. She still got there as an EGOT, and that's a hard thing to do. Our remaining moments with the co-host of Entertainment Tonight, Michelle Turner, when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. This is the Tavis Smiley Show.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful they saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're looking for the most epic place on earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall.
Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Ready to re-examine your assumptions and expand your inventory of ideas? More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
More of Nichelle Turner coming your way right now. At least the last 3 minutes have left in this hour. I think time for 2 more questions. Number one. So I sit here every day, Nichelle, for 3 hours. Obviously, it's political season. It's election year, presidential election year. So every day I have to figure out with my team, what are we going to cover today in this 3-hour show? And that's 3 hours. You ain't got to do 3 hours every day. But you still, with your team at ET, have to figure out what does make the cut. I'm just curious. I've never asked this question. In a world where entertainment news is all that, and it's happening every minute, it seems, on a daily basis, how do y'all decide what makes the cut on the show every night?
Well, that's a great question. And like you said, you have 3 hours. So you have a little bit more breath than we do because we have 22 minutes to figure out, what all we're going to get in for a day. And so we start at 7 o'clock in the morning. We go into our morning meeting and we kind of talk about the news of the day, what we've seen, what's, the water cooler story of the day, what we think are the big stories of the day. And we kind of plan our rundown from there. We plan what we put in the show from there. Like as of yesterday, we were starting with, we were starting with kind of the Chiefs and their parade and all of that in the morning. And then you saw at 12:30 what happened. There was a shooting at the parade. And so we went into reshoot mode. Like we had shot our show at 11 o'clock in the morning because we feed it out in the afternoon. That happened. So we go into breaking news mode. We reshoot our show and we configure the entire show around that breaking news incident. And if everyone says, well, you guys are an entertainment show, well, this again is one of those things where entertainment and news collide.
It weaves, exactly.
Absolutely. And also because, we're not a political show, but you cannot look past the senseless amount of mass shootings in this country. So we decide, we have to address this up top. And we're not people who, I believe in calling a spade and telling it how it is. So we open our show saying, here we go with another senseless shooting. What are we doing? And we go from there. And so that's kind of what we do every day. We start at 7 o'clock in the morning. We have a lot of spirited debate at times. There are some people who think this should be in the show, this shouldn't be in the show, this should be a lead. And what I like about this, it's what I love about making television, Tavis. I love this about the creative process, that you can't be with like-minded people all of the time in one same room, or you're going to have the stalest, most boring show ever.
That is true.
You need to have diversity of thought, diversity of people. You have to have people with different viewpoints, and that's how you make magic, right? That's how you make the magic of television.
Well, we'll be watching tonight to see what makes the cut today on Entertainment Tonight. I am always thrilled, always delighted when Nichelle Turner takes a few minutes to come holler at us here on Tavis Smiley about what's happening in the world of entertainment news. It's all that these days. You can't get away from it, and nobody does it better than E.T. And better than Nichelle Turner and her co-host, Kevin Frazier. Nichelle told Kevin, I said, what's up? Good to have you back on. I'll talk to you soon, I hope.
Yes, indeed, and we appreciate you having us on, Tavis. You're a rarefied air. You've been out there in the trenches for us for a very long time, so we're always really honored to come hang with you for a little bit.
You are too kind. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you once again. That's our show for today. Back here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Best of Tavis Smiley tomorrow. Until then, thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep the faith.